Don in London, hello. March 16th, 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction either to substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol. Primary substance, I'm sure there were plenty more. Eating, behaviour, all those things. So a bit of an olic in all respects. Alcoholic, workaholic, relationshipaholic, all the olics. And the ism of now. The ism of now is, I guess, trying to make my life work one day at a time. And what helps me more than anything is to be in fellowship. That is, to have people around me who know what is going on when I can't explain it to somebody else. And those tend to be people in recovery from whatever substance or behaviour it may be. And there are many, many fellowships around. But I go to Alcoholics Anonymous, which has 12 steps of action and 12 traditions. And the steps help me keep in recovery, the traditions help me keep in fellowship, and the fellowship safe. So, Alcoholics Anonymous, this is the preamble which is shared at every meeting, and I say it here because it slows me down into the moment of now, to being present in this present moment. And it's not a trick, it's just helping me to keep on track. So, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And that's really important to say, because I don't speak for AA, but I go to AA meetings and I am part of the fellowship simply because I have one desire, that is not to drink a day at a time. So whether you're an olic in recovery, like me, or you have a particular substance which is an addiction, or behaviour which is an addiction, you'll probably find there is a fellowship which works on the principle of 12 steps, and has 12 traditions which hold their fellowship, or the fellowships, together. And I'm very lucky. It only took me 5 years to understand that not only was I an olic, I was a bit of a twit, and I needed help. And I guess, you know, there's a lot of God mentioned in the fellowships, and it really is, it can be a problem for somebody like me, because I always thought that there was no God. You know, how could it be that there was a God when life was so unfair for so many people? And it wasn't me really self-obsessing about me, but I had a bigger picture. And I think even agnostic atheists and God believers always see a bigger picture than just themselves. But addiction does something very terrible. It makes us self-obsessed, selfish, unable to break out of that behaviour, and we become a nightmare to people around us. And these days I'm just getting by one day at a time. The one and only day we have to experience the now. And the now for me is the spiritual connection to life. That is the spiritual understanding of truth. And these are my words, not anybody else's words. And we all come to an understanding of whether we believe in the higher power or not. And I guess for me the simple truth is there is a good conscience in most of us. And if we're part of a fellowship where good conscience operates, we see the wisdom of the years from other people, and we learn how to live simply one day. So for me it's a daily trudge, if you like, that happy road to destiny, which is full of all sorts of pitfalls and potholes. So Sunday yesterday was quite a good day. I only did one meeting of AA. I was wrapped up in trying to put my computer right, and I don't know enough, so I'm going to have to ring up a higher power, MSN probably, or somebody out there who knows more than I do. But the reason why I'm smiling when I say higher power, there are so many higher powers around, and they're full of wisdom. And as Gandhi said, God is truth, God is love, God works through people. I think he said probably all of those things. He said a lot of things besides, which were quite wise. And like any others, we all have our other side where we're not so wise and we're a bit silly. And to believe that I could go on and use my will to get sober and stay sober and do all the things I used to do was the biggest denial and the biggest filter in me for many, many years. I was blown off course very young, and I don't blame anybody for that. We are just part of life. You know, sometimes we are okay and sometimes not. Anyway, on a daily basis, the daily reflections here. It covers each of the 12 steps of that action for an individual, one a month, in a very loose way, and I'm working my way through as it goes. So for March 16th it says here, as we understand him, that's God. My friend suggested that when we seemed what then seemed a novel idea, why don't you choose your own conception of God? That statement hit me hard. It melted the icy intellectual mountain in whose shadow I had lived and shivered for many years. I stood in the sunlight at last. It was only a matter of being willing to believe in a power greater than myself. Nothing more was required of me to make my beginning. And that comes from AA's big book, page 12. I remember that the times I looked up into the sky and reflected on who started it all and how. When I came to AA, an understanding of some description of the spiritual dimension became a necessary adjunct to a stable sobriety. After reading a variety of versions, including the scientific, of a great explosion, I went for simplicity and made the God of my understanding the great power that made the explosion possible. With the vastness of the universe under his command, he would no doubt be able to guide my thinking and actions if I was prepared to accept his guidance. But I could not expect help if I turned my back on that help and went my own way. I became willing to believe, and I have had 26 years of stable and satisfying sobriety. Well, I haven't had that many. And I don't know whether it's stable and satisfying, but life throws us curveballs all the time, and it's only a week since my more friend than sponsor, died. And many people knew him better than me because they'd been around longer and been in his company. What a great person. Same day, ending of my relationship with a very lovely woman, and that's just how life turns out. So, how's that last week been? It was awful, and this week I feel a bit more calm, a bit more centred, and I think the weather helps too. Sunshine yesterday, and going to a meeting of newcomers where people new to the fellowship talk. It sends me a message that all this striving to just be in the day has been worth it, because seeing and hearing the stories of others who are fresh into fellowship and how much the torment is there, I forget and sometimes need to be reminded just what torment I was in and where it took me. It took me to the very end of living more than once, and I guess I am fortunate to have survived those things, but it wasn't just me. Professional help, medical help, all those things. And that's a message really for me today. It was always a combination of professional understanding about what I'd done to myself emotionally, physically, and then this spiritual dimension which I learned in recovery, to live in the day, just be here, has helped me enormously. And as Bill sees it today, this one, just done linearly, page 49, out of defeat, strength. If we are planning to stop drinking, there must be no reservation of any kind, nor any lurking notion that someday we will be immune to alcohol. Such is the paradox of AA regeneration, strength arising out of complete defeat and weakness. The loss of one's old life is as a condition for finding a new one. And for me, 35 years of drinking took its toll. My memory, my emotions, my spiritual foundation, if you like, completely undermined by my obsessive addictive behaviour. And it's taken a long time just to understand I don't need to obsess or be addictive in my behaviours these days if I find balance between the extremes of not drinking and drinking, or the feeling that I must not ever, or I must drink again because it's something which I want to do. And in fact it's nothing that I want to do these days, and that's just the gaining of time every 24 hours away from, but we're never short, or we're never very far from a drink again if we're not careful. So what helps me is doing these videos, getting centred, being in the moment, and that serenity prayer to the God of your understanding. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And simply also to know that time is an absolute necessary healer of how we feel and how we understand life. And we never need to stop loving people, whether they're out of our lives or they remain in. We need to cherish always. I guess that's my touchstone. Cherish always as best we can, and then we can make use of this one day we have.